So good morning, everybody. It was a year ago we were here at Tech Days. It's incredible to think that already 1 year has passed, and so many things happened during the last year. Yes, Luke, you guessed right. We are going to talk a little bit about Copilot during this keynote. I don't know how you figured that out, but I thought I was going to be the first one to mention it, but you beat me to it. All right, yeah. I mean, it's hard to imagine that it was. I think about 2 years ago, a little less than that, ChatGPT started making the news, and people were starting talking about it, outside of the tech industry. And since then, so many things have happened, and there's no doubt that the AI revolution is upon us. So we are going to talk a lot about Copilot. We are going to talk a lot about AI during this keynote, but also throughout the whole conference. And I want to share with you a few numbers about that before we dive into demos and show you what we've done with the product and show you some of the tooling we've made for you. There's literally billions of chat this year just on the Microsoft Copilot, and people use it for all sorts of things, to code, to get a head start and determine company strategy, create agendas. And there's 68% of the people that are using Copilot say that it gives them a jump start for the creative process. We have a few other numbers. We did a little bit of a poll and asking people around how they're using this technology, and 70% say that they are more productive with Copilot, and 77% don't want to stop using it. So when people are first user, when they start using Copilot, when they start using this technology, they get angry if you take it away from them. So on the Microsoft front, we have been very busy, and we have in the 2024 release wave 1, we've shipped more than 100 features across the Dynamics 365 portfolio. 100 features. I don't think any technology has ever been so prominent, and I don't think we have invested so much in any technology in the past. And what's interesting also is, if you think about it, we've seen, if you're like me, who've been in this business for a while, we have seen many new technologies, like, for example, the cloud, or the internet. And if you remember, some of you remember this transition and this new technology. The transition to this new technology has been kind of happening over years, right? Over a long time. Take the cloud, for example, right? It's been happening over several years. But this technology, AI, is just in a matter of it's such a short a period that we have never seen anything like that before. So we are going to show you what we've done in Business Central. We are going to show you some of the features we've implemented leveraging this technology. But it's important that one of the message we have for you guys, for this community, is that we must work together. I mean, we can only do that much in Business Central. We can, of course, implement all the scenarios which are offering value for ERP, but we will never be able to implement scenarios which are domain-specific, the ones which are specific for a country or an industry. So that's why we need you guys to help us with that. We need to work together with this, and we'll show you the tools, and we'll show you all the things we've prepared for you in order for you to do that. But before we get there, I wanted to frame a little bit the whole discussions around AI, because there's quite a lot of confusion out there, I think. So first of all, generative AI, which is what most people are talking about these days, is not chat only. ChatGPT or a Copilot chat is one application of generative AI. So that's one way to use this technology. There's plenty of other ways to use it. And actually, let's go through a little bit of terminology here. Artificial intelligence is something that it's actually an old technology. I think it appeared around the 1950s. And I believe Alan Turing was one of the first scientists who used the term artificial intelligence. If you've seen the movie the imitation game that's about the life of Alan Turing. And back then, this term was used to refer to any computer-based thing that would try to emulate the human mind and what humans are doing. And back then, it was very, very much algorithmic-based, meaning you were writing code in a traditional way to try to simulate what a human would do. And then later on, I think in around the 70s already, machine learning appeared. And machine learning is, as opposed to traditional programming where you write the code, you write the algorithm, the idea is to train a model on a lot of data to actually let the model create the algorithm. So you don't write the algorithm, but you train a model which becomes the algorithm, right? So machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. And within that field, there is another field which is yet a subset of machine learning called deep learning. And deep learning is a little bit different than machine learning in that sense that it is a subset of machine learning, but deep learning, when you do machine learning which is not deep learning, you kind of have an idea of what the rules are and which feature you are going to select, which things are important for the model. Whereas for deep learning, you just let the model train itself. It's a little bit like magic. You don't know what's going on inside the training until your model is fully trained. And within deep learning, there's yet another subset called generative AI. And that's what everybody's talking about these days. And generative AI is about producing new content. For example, self-driving cars are using AI technology, obviously, but it's not generative AI. You're not trying to produce new content. You get some input from sensors and cameras and radars, and the output is a brake and turn the steering wheel, accelerate, this kind of thing. So you're not generating new content. You're just generating some output and predict some things to do with the car, whereas generative AI is producing something new. And within generative AI, there is picture generation, like DALL-E. That's one of the models used for, you might have seen it. That's one of the models you can use to generate pictures. There are some models that are specialized in generating music, for example, symphony and things like that, and obviously text as well. And within this field of generative AI, there are large language models, also called LLM, and these are about generating text. And this is often what people are talking about these days when they mention AI. So I just wanted to kind of, set the stage and talk a little bit about this terminology. And then, just to confuse everybody a little more, there is Microsoft Copilot, which is not actually a technology, it's a brand. It's a Microsoft brand, which covers everything which has to do with AI within Microsoft, and it can be generative AI, or it actually could be something else. So I hope that helps clear a little bit the confusion and help you in terms of understanding these terms. Right, so let's jump into it. Let's see what we've done in the product, and we'll show you for inspiration what we have done before we get to the tooling part. And for that, I'd like to invite Horina on stage. Please help me welcome Horina.
Thank you, Vincent. It's so nice to be here today. Actually, Vincent, we do have a little anniversary together because, in 2013, that was my first session here at TechDays, and we were demoing client extensibility.
That's true.
And since I actually skipped last year, so that makes it around 10 presentations, right?
All right. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But let's talk about Copilot and in Business Central, right? So I think we all have somehow experienced what it means to the power that generative AI has on users. How many times we have sat there with GPT and type our few words, and then we got all amazed about the answer, and we want to bring this power, this wow effect, this productivity boost in Business Central. And how did we do that? Well, we really wanted to do it not just in some places in Business Central where we think that would be cool and we want to celebrate the technology. We have actually thought about the end-to-end business processes. And we started with sales to cash. If you remember, we have marketing text suggestions in Ready to Transact. We have also quote to fulfillment, and we promise you some really compelling demos today. And we also continue our journey in getting paid and pay. And actually, in April, we have just announced the public preview of automatic matching purchase orders with electronic invoices, also using Copilot. So let's see how we have done that, and we would like to show you some really great demos today. And we will start, right?
Yeah. So while Horina is getting ready with her demo, when we plan Tech Days, we talk with Luke and we have some some communication before, and Luke has been doing this conference for many years, and he's very well organized. He have everything under control. He has this plan, and so he's asking us, who is going to come, what sessions you're going to have, and at Microsoft, we're very, very bad at keeping the deadline, and we're always late, and Luke is getting nervous, up to the conference. So we thought, maybe we can use Copilot and some of the features we have in Business Central to, do a better job at Microsoft and, take some of the anxiety from Luke, right?
Yes, let's do that. So let's imagine, I am a salesperson in Kronos, and I receive a lot of mails from my favorite customers, asking all sorts of questions about items we have in our product catalog. And guess what? Luke is one of our favorite customers, and BC TechDays is going well. We have 1,200
participants.
So it's taking up good business, and so he wants to expand his office setup, and particularly he would like to purchase 2 black office desks and 4 blue chairs.
So he sent you a mail with that.
Yeah. And Luke is very precise, right? So he also wants these items to be delivered by end of June, right? And normally that will take us quite some time, right? We have quite a lot of items in our product catalog. But let's see how AI Companion in Business Central can help me with this task. And you notice here the Copilot icon in the top up bar, and you just seen how the Copilot pane seamlessly slides in and integrates in Business Central experience.
So you just open the pane here on the role center, but actually you can do that anywhere in Business Central, right? And you can have this chat pane on any page to help you do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it's always going to be alongside with your data. And you can see here that Copilot welcomes me with a message, and it clearly states, how it can assist. It can look up records in the database. It can help me understand business processes, or it can, guide me on how do I do some certain operations with Business Central.
So what about this? There's this view prompt icon. Can you show us what that does?
Yeah, so if users are still in doubt about how to interact with Copilot, there are plenty of examples on how Copilot can help.
So these are prompts which are ready-made. You could type them manually in the chat. That would do the same thing, but that's kind of a way to help the users getting started with asking things to Copilot, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And, I'm not a fast typer. We all know that. So I always try to find, shortcuts. So how about we ask Copilot if there's a keyboard shortcut for accessing all actions on the page? And what would we do if we wouldn't have Copilot?
So we would have to open the documentation, look for that information. And I don't know about you, but I think sometimes our documentation can be a little bit confusing. So we'll have to find the right area about keyboard shortcut. But here we can just ask directly in the context of the role center, for example, here, right?
Yeah, and I have here back from Copilot a compact answer, and well, it says I can press Alt to show the access keys. Well, and if I really want to double check on Copilot, we can always we always have here citations, what we call citation, which is the link to the page where Copilot found this information for me. So I think this is the right answer. Let's give Copilot a thumbs up. And we can also give it a try. Let's see if I press
let's try
Alt.
that was the right answer.
And see. And then we navigate to customers. And that's how, as a new user, we get to learn a new skill in Business Central just by asking Copilot.
So let's get back to Luke and this mail, right?
Let's get back to business, yeah.
So I think, go ahead.
So we need to create a code for Luke. Actually, we have a code already open, so let me go ahead and ask Copilot to find it. Look up open sales quote for Tech Days. So this is our customer.
So notice what happens here. We just asking Copilot to look up an entity, a sales quote, in a specific status, right, which is open, and for the Tech Days customers, So we're not specifying, that the status is open, or the entity is a sales quote, or Tech Days is customer. Copilot figures that out by itself, right? Otherwise, we would need to, alternatively, we would have to go and look for it. Maybe you have many sales quote open, but you can just ask Copilot in natural language, and Copilot returns the results, right?
Yeah. So notice here I have actually a small preview of the sales quote that we have open for BC Tech Days. I also have a link to the sales quote page to actually directly go and open this quote. And so let's do that. So let's go ahead and edit. Now, Luke wanted, what did he want? We wanted 4 blue chairs and 2 black office desks. And normally...
You wanted some solid desk, there's something about...
Actually the office desk should be solid oak or durable, right? Right. And normally, we will actually go back to the items page now and try to search for blue chairs and see which one would actually be a good fit for Luke, come back and manually enter these. But here in the lines page, please notice that we have the Copilot menu action, and in there is suggest sales line. And aside this suggest sales line, we have what we call the image sparkle, and that is an indication for the users that this action is an AI-powered experience. So let's go ahead and click on suggest sales line, and now I can describe with my own words what items I would like to add to this quote. And we can be maybe a little bit lazy and just copy-paste directly from Luke's mail and send these to Copilot.
So you just take the text as it is from Luke's mail and just paste it there, no change, right? Just natural language, what Luke is asking for, and then ask Copilot to find these items.
Yeah, and we're not only looking for the item name or description, we're actually looking for all the related information we have available in Business Central.
There we go.
Yeah, let's review these items.
So I can see the quantity also is put right.
That is correct.
And then the attend desk, if it's Luke wanted a black one, so that matches, and also something solid oak. So that sounds like that's the right type of item, right?
Mm-hmm. Good suggestion. And we can also just quickly review the London chair. That's also okay. That
fits. All right. Cool.
Should we go insert then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what about what if I don't have a mail? What if I don't have if I just want to find some items without a mail?
Yeah. So we have here in the prompt guides, a couple of examples to inspire you how to interact with Copilot. And you know, sometimes customers are not really that precise in telling, okay, I want this item. They just want to say, well, send me the same thing as last month. And for that, we have the copy from existing documents, or you can also just write copy from the last invoice. Or we can just add an item like quantity and description.
Yeah, so we should actually send something extra to Luke. Luke usually has this coffee van. Do you have it this year as well? So maybe we should. There was always good coffee at BC TechDays.
And then there is the coffee mugs as well, right?
Yeah, the coffee mug. Yeah, so we need to send Luke one espresso machine.
Okay. So let me add this, and I can.
As a gift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of. Maybe a discount. Let's see later.
Right.
So yes, I think we have just received a luxurious espresso machine, and I really hope Copilot will find that and add this to the quote.
So the thing here is that you just write one espresso machine. Even though, we don't remember exactly the exact name of the item. You can see here the exact name of the item is espresso machine, Lux Espresso Chronus something, right? And you don't have to search for that exactly. We just write one espresso machine, and Copilot figures out what's the best match.
Yes.
That's what LLMs are really, really good at.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's insert that in Luke's order.
I hope it's a good one. You guys are gonna love it. So maybe we're almost ready to send this quote.
Yeah, there was something in Luke's mail about a delivery date.
Yeah, we really want it by end of June, and we don't want to disappoint him. And also, the other question, of course, you can ask yourself is, well, these items are nice, Copilot has found it for me, good suggestions, but can they really be delivered on time? And I don't know about you, but we have this order promising algorithm for determining delivery dates in Business Central.
Let's ask Copilot how that works.
So let's say, how do I determine delivery dates? And hopefully that will help us, understand how we would, what do we need to add to this quote to make sure that Luke gets the order in time.
Yeah, again here, otherwise we would have to look again through the documentation, find the right place where we talk about delivery dates and what algorithm we use, but then we have it right in the context of the work we are doing.
Mm. I notice here actually Copilot is adding some steps for me here, specifying, well, if you have a specific delivery date requested by customer, then. So quite a nice information, and here is delivery date calculation in our Microsoft documentation. Let's give it again a thumbs up. I really love this answer. So what does it say? Specific delivery date is requested by the customer.
Yeah, it's something about the requested
delivery date.
Yeah. Yeah, so here you have the tooltip that we all know and love, but the new thing you'll notice here, there is an Ask Copilot icon in the tooltip that can automatically generate a prompt for you to ask about that particular field.
And with one click, we can just send a predefined prompt to Copilot pane, ask it to explain the requested delivery date for us. So
we could have typed that, actually. Mm-hmm. We could have just typed explain field name, requested delivery date, but then we can, the convenient thing is that we can just click on the tooltip and get an explanation.
And that's what it says. It's used to specify date or sales line that's a starting point for calculating shipment and delivery date. That looks about right. So let's go ahead and set this to 30th of June. We have a little bit of time. And now our quote is ready to be sent.
Ready. All right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yeah, the discount.
Yeah, well,
good you say that.
That's good you say that. Let's hope discount also works. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
So actually, we have this loyalty program, as you know, and Luke, you are a gold customer, obviously. So what we want to show you here is that we've made a very small extension that adds the loyalty field to the customer, and customers can be bronze, gold, and silver. Obviously, Luke is a gold customer. And what Horina is going to show you in a moment here is that Copilot can understand the things that are in your extension without having to do anything special about it, right?
Yes. Show me all
So
customers.
so let's
with,
search for
show me all
a
customers
customer.
with reward ID gold.
All right. So again, this extension is very simple. We'll see that in a moment, right? But it doesn't have any Copilot code in it. But anyway, when you ask questions about the data on these customers, even though they are coming from an extension, Copilot is able to figure out this thing, right?
And here is the answer,
And here's
right?
look.
Yeah, so here, look, you are a gold customer,
You're a gold
as you
customer,
can see.
so you're entitled to discount.
So definitely good rewards. Like if you guys are in doubt
so can you show us that there's no Copilot code in the extension?
Yes. So we have here, a very nice feature which allows me to show you the code directly from web client. With one click, we can just ask a web client to redirect us to VS Code and show us the reward ID field. And yes, no, I don't want any snapshot debugging because this is an extension that works beautifully. So I just want to show you here the code. So
you see what happened here? You just click from the browser on the page inspector and went directly to Visual Studio Code to the implementation of that particular field, actually.
Yeah.
So directly from the browser, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yes. And then here you can see the tooltip, which is so what we have added in this extension, maybe a few fine-tuning to make sure that Copilot understands what we're asking for is, of course, quite good tooltips. In this case, for example, specifies the level of the reward, so that allows me to kind of play with words like reward tier or reward ID and so on. It's also important that besides the reward table, which we all expect to have, we have the reward list page and card, and all the columns are actually added to the reward list. So, for example, if we're searching for reward ID, that should be added to the list, and the same for the customer card reward card page.
Very nice. So, how about now? How are we doing as a company? It's fine we give discount to Look, but do we have enough money to give discount to Look?
Yeah, let's see how we are doing with our finances, right? Maybe Look doesn't get the discount after all.
Yeah.
This gold thing, has just the default values there.
Maybe we promised too much. No, but so a while ago, if you remember, we introduced the analysis view, which allows you to do ad hoc BI on any lists in Business Central. It was a very, we got a really good feedback on this feature, but we also got that feedback. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to set up the view the way you want, if you want to present the data in a certain way. So we thought that maybe we could use Copilot to help with that.
Yeah. So let's take a look. In this release, we have introduced the Analyze list with Copilot. You will find the Analyze list across all list pages in Business Central. We also have maybe you can say more proeminent, user experience for this Copilot action. Inviting you to, look at all this data, all these rows, and just get to the view that you want with only a few words. So what should we ask? What would you like to see?
Show me the money. Show me how much money our customers owe us.
Okay, show me what customers owe us. And notice here that we are again vague. We're not telling which columns to have in the view. We're not telling what filters to be added. We just say to Copilot, show us all the customers who owe us money. And then, Copilot is able to translate this to this view.
So here we go. The view gets formatted as you asked, just in natural language. But how about I'd like to see the numbers by years and months. Mm-hmm. Can you do that?
Let me add this due months and due year, and then let's ask Copilot to fine-tune this view. And one thing that you should also remember that when we are actually calling the analyze list, we're actually not sending any of your business data to Copilot. The only information that we're sending to the LLMs is the columns that we have available on the list, and their metadata information. So no business data is being sent over to the wire to LLM.
All right. Well, now we have the due month and due date here, due year. How about I'd like this view to be in a pivot mode.
Yeah. I also am not so familiar with pivot. So let me ask Copilot show as pivot, and hopefully we will get the view that we want.
So what's all these things you could have done with the mouse and clicking around, but it's so much easier just to ask BC how you want the data to be presented, and that just happens. So here we go.
Yeah, and look how many columns we would have here. So I would have actually we have tried this, in other when we ship the analysis mode and demoed this on how many columns, and we had to remember specifically me and Yannick in the keynotes and so on. So I'm very happy for this feature, just only for my selfish reasons. Let's.
So I like that view. Can you share it with me?
Yes. First, let me keep it and. We also have this option of just copying the link, and I can, take this link and send it to you on Teams, and you can, then maybe you can show it to Luke and say, hey, we actually do have money to give you discount. So
if I get that link in my mail and open it in my environment, then I would get this exact view.
Yes.
All right. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
All right. And that is how Copilot helps you, opens the door for you to interact in a whole new way with your business data. In some way, the business processes have become much more approachable. And you also have a performance boost, productivity boost. I know Copilot is just alongside with your data. So you can continue doing your task, but Copilot will take care of all the things you just don't want to rebuther and fine-tune. So, yeah.
Thank you, Horina.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, I hope you get inspired by this feature. So again, this is the features that Microsoft has implemented in Business Central. But again, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, we will need you to also help us and help your customers implementing your solution and your feature. And to talk about that, let me invite Aida on stage. Welcome, Aida.
Good morning. Thank you, Vincent.
Clicker.
Thank you. It's really awesome to be here after a year gap and see all these great developers. And I just think that right now you see all these beautiful features, Copilot features embedded in Business Central, and you're going to ask yourself, okay, how I can embed AI in my solution? And for that, we are introducing a Copilot developer toolkit, and I'm very excited to announce that. And guys, this is just the beginning. So you can use the toolkit to build AI into your solution in a very trustworthy and consistent way. And I would like to demonstrate that a bit. But then looking at Luke, I was just thinking, Luke, you make a lot of effort. This is one of the best conferences. You bring this amazing community year after year. You gather us here together. You are very precise. I'm always late, I know, with my plan and presentation. So now that Horina helped you to equip your office and get you some discount and some luxurious coffee machine, so I'm going to take it one step further. And don't you think it's going to be cool to actually ask AI to organize the whole event?
Yeah, Let's see if we can get
with precision, with efficiency, and then you don't need to be stressed. Oh, Vincent is here, late, Aida is late, and Horina is late, and all that story. So for that, actually, what do you think, Vincent? Should we start coding?
Yes. Yeah, let's do a bit of on-stage coding. It's always a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun, especially, in front of all these developers. I love to code live on stage and see what happens using Copilot Toolkit. So I'm going to do that. Here, I just have created a new project. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new Copilot action to the list of projects. So what I'm planning to do, because as you know, we have this concept of projects in BC. Earlier, we used to call it jobs. And I want to infuse it with AI and create a very special experience for Look. So to start with that, I'm going to add this action. And just let's go and look how this looks. Basically, it's very simple, right? I'm just adding, it's a simple page extension with a prompting area, and I'm placing an action that is calling a page. And
Right,
it's
so
going
let's see how
to,
that looks like.
yeah, it's
There we
going
go.
to look like that. You can see it has the signature Copilot look. And
So you recognize this from other experience in the Microsoft products, like from M65.
yeah.
This is all it takes to get this Copilot.
Yeah, just because you are you're using toolkit and place the action in the prompting area, you don't need to bother with this, and you're going to have this. I turn off my notification, but that's fine. We deal with that. Okay, great. So this action is going to call a page, and let's go and build that page. And I know all of you are using these very nice built-in snippets for when you want to create, to very quickly create a layout for a page or for objects. And for the new page type we have, prompt dialog, we have created a dedicated snippet, a dedicated template that I'm going to use so I can quickly get started. And you can see this new page type is the prompt dialog. And with this type, you get a lot of nice things out of the box. You get like the Copilot, look and feel, the signature visuals, and the most important of all, there is meta prompts in here. So you will get all those safety controls for your customers to make sure that you are following the responsible AI.
But from a coding perspective, it's just a regular page, just a new page type called prompt dialog,
Absolutely. Right? And I'm going to give this page, let me give it an ID. And then it's nice also to name it, right? Draft project, great.
Okay.
Nice. And then, I want to keep it simple here, so I'm not going to use any tables. Instead, I'm going to add 2 variables. So I'm going to add 2 variables. One of these variables is going to receive the message that user types in the prompt dialog, and the other one captures the output that is generated by Copilot. Okay, now I have these 2 variables, and I'm going to use them in the 2 main areas of my prompt dialog page. One area is the prompt area, and I want to make this area, you have seen a lot of prompt dialog areas now in Horina's demo. I want just to make sure that this is going to look nice and user-friendly. So we have some instruction, and so the user knows what to type here. Great.
So that's going to be shown as instruction for the user
how
absolutely. To use the prompt area.
And then we have also the content area. This is the output generated by Copilot. And then, it's nice to have this content area in a rich text format so you can see the output generated by Copilot in all its glory. So I think I have the base of my page in place. Should we give it a try?
Yeah, let's see how it looks like then.
Yeah. Let me go ahead. And run this.
It's compiling. So again, here you just a regular page, but with some new areas and new concepts.
Absolutely.
But traditional AL coding, apart from that. Right?
Let's see. So we add the action, and now we are going to see how the prompt dialog will look like. So our nice draft with Copilot action, by the way, this draft Copilot action, it also shows up in here, in the Copilot menu action bar. You saw analyze list, now we have also placed it here, just automatically because we use the toolkit. And then now let's look at the prompt dialog. So
all right.
This is
cool.
the experience we build, and you can see the instructions that we add to the prompt area.
So we build basically all the UX and UI here.
Almost, I think, we have the base UI in place, but it's not special enough. Remember what is our mission here. The mission is to help Luke. So
okay, so you want to do something special for Luke?
Yes, I'm going to do something special for you.
Okay.
So if you remember all those nice, let me close this, all this nice prompt guide that Horina was showing, what about we add a very nice prompt guide also for Luke? So I'm going to add that. Great. So this prompt guide is about organizing the event, and then let's make it a bit more special. Maybe we call it what? Help Luke.
Help Luke, okay. So that's going to be a special prompt guide you're doing now, right?
Let's see. And then, of course, it has a description, so you can use this meta prompt, so you don't need Luke to type. All is about your efficiency. I'm going to actually give this a try as well.
Okay.
And see how this appears. Great.
So we are getting a prompt dialog, and we're getting the prompt, the Copilot menu, and then the prompt dialog, just with really few line of code here.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And look, we had a prompt guide, and now we get this nice, cute prompt guide icon, very specialized. And then if I invoke it, plan for BC TechDays, conference for developers, it should have working dinner, it should have exhibitions, and all that.
All right, so let's go and click generate and see what happens.
Okay, so far we have just built, I know you are very eager, you want to see the results, but all we have done, we have built a nice experience, we make it a bit special, but then we need to do a little bit more coding, because one thing we need to do when we invoke this generate action, first of all, one instruction is this user prompt, but another one is we need to tell Copilot in what format and how we want to receive and generate the results, because it can go really crazy.
Okay, so for now you only build a user experience.
Absolutely.
Which is consistent with all the user experience we have around Copilot in BC.
Yeah.
In your extension, but you haven't hooked it up to an OpenAI service yet, or Copilot service yet.
And I'm not even going there. So for now, I'm going to, in the generate, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a system prompt. And this system prompt is this instruction additional for what user is asking for. I want to say, okay, for example, generate at least 6 tasks, because this is a big conference. I don't want 2,000 tasks, but I don't want very limited number. I want to have subtasks. The format should be bulleted. For example, it's also quite important, like it looks nice and fun. I can add some emoji, why not?
So that part is actually, it's called a prompt, right? It's what you're going to send to the LLM.
Yeah.
And actually that's where, you probably have heard about prompt engineering. So that's where, you might want to do this part maybe outside of BC. Maybe you want to go to OpenAI Studio or some of these tools we have and craft your prompt there and get it right for whatever feature you want to implement. And once you've got it right and try it out with your scenario, then you can go on and code your extension here and put your prompt in BC in your extension in AI.
Absolutely. So now we have said to Copilot how we want the result, but then where is Copilot? We need to kind of go and connect to that. And as you know, we are going to create a new AI capability for Business Central Copilot, create project line. So I want to go ahead and actually make sure that I'm defining this. So I will add the capability, create project line. And then the last step, I need to also go ahead and connect that to OpenAI service. For that, I'm going to use more of a toolkit magic and create a local procedure here, create suggestion. And what is happening here, actually, look at this line of code. This is instruction for you to interact with Azure OpenAI service. However, we have made this very simple for you. We have provided in the toolkit these very simple wrappers, and all you need to do, it is available in BC sample, and all you need to do is to make sure you are setting safe authentication and authorization. You can also go set some parameter, for example, define which version of GPT you are using. You can adjust, for example, the level of AI creativity. It's also known as temperature, and right now, actually, it's quite cold in the building, and it's a keynote stage. I want to keep the temperature quite down.
Yeah. But and you can see here, it's very few lines of code, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like less than 20 lines of code. That's what it takes to actually interact with the OpenAI service there.
It's part of the toolkit. It's available in BC sample. All you need to do is just go and change some of these parameters. And then, are we ready?
Yeah, let's. I think we're ready. Let's go.
Okay, let me go ahead and run this and see if we can have a mission accomplished.
So again, this 20 line of code is very simple. We just specify a few parameters, and that's where all the magic happened. That's where we actually talk to the OpenAI service.
Absolutely.
The first part was about the UI and the UX, and these 20 line of code is where actually we are going to interact with the LLMs. All right?
Okay. In our project area, we have the draft with Copilot action. We go and use a very special prompt guide. We want to help Luke. We already have amazing 2024 conference, so let's plan it for next year.
Next year, 2025.
Yes. But then we already help Luke, right? I just want to add another prompt here because we have this very luxurious coffee machine that we buy for you with the discount. So
yeah, so we need coffee for the. It's very important at the conference, and beer as well.
Oh, of course, beer. 7 type of beer, right?
Yeah,
we need to make sure. I don't know how many type next time are also needed.
No conference without coffee and beer.
Yes, especially a developer conference, right? We won't last. I always
now we can click generate, right?
Yeah,
now the magic is going to happen.
And at the moment, I, press on this. By the way, look at this very nice, progress bar, stop generating a stake. This was not part of our code. It's part of the toolkit. So you got all that experience also for free. And let's see if LLM is going to work for us and do something great for Luke.
Here we go.
Here you go. So you can see that we have different tasks. We should set the date, check the availability. I know Luke does all this. Identify keynote speakers, so important.
Yeah, important, Luke, right?
And look at this coffee and beer, I don't know. Actually, I honestly don't know why it has made it
somehow Copilot figures out that coffee and beer is important. It gets highlighted. You see, it gets in bold. Yeah. So I don't know if it's figured out it's a developer conference. Let's put an emphasis on coffee and beer.
Or maybe because we added at the end, so we thought, this is really important for us. So here, look, you have this. I can even, now it was on a stage, so we ask not to add a lot of subtasks. We can ask to add even more subtasks, so you will get such a precise planning. And hopefully next year you will be less stressed, especially. Very good. You're good for 2025.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So
that was, how you can build an extension in very few lines of code, as you can see, and interact with Copilot. But I noticed, Aida, that where you were coding, you didn't create an OpenAI subscription on Azure, or you didn't do anything with the actual OpenAI service. So
that was a smart observation.
How does that work?
Okay. I'm going to actually pre-announce, because you're part of the family. We are not exactly announcing, but pre-announcing Microsoft Managed AI Resources. This is a concept that we are working for a while right now. And what is in it? So all of third-party apps, we provide them with AI capacity out of the box. It's going to be a very transparent, managed, scalable situation. And I think we are going to announce the private preview. It is holding the final responsible AI review and all those things. So I think around in 2-3 weeks, probably early summer, we will go to private preview with selected customers and partners. And after that, we will go for a public preview. So you don't need to worry about that at all.
Yeah, and check aka.ms/BC Armor and we'll announce it.
Yeah, and you will learn about it, and we will make a great announcement when we have it. So you don't need to kind of worry about that. And then when it comes to, we have a lot of guidance and samples. BCS.coding with AI Learn, it's all the documentation. And then you have coding samples of what I show, for example, on the stage, a lot of more details. So there is tons of codes and documentation for you to learn more and experience more. And, of course, some of you want to start coding first, then look at the documentation. What order you take, you can use both of these links and take these resources. And I think they can actually get started from next week.
Yeah.
Right after they come back from this conference.
Yeah, actually, Aida, some of you are already started. And,
really?
And so a little while ago, I think back in February, we had this great AI hackathon event. We have more than 300 partners participating in this event, and they were trying out the toolkit that Aida just demonstrated. And we had a little competition about it, and it was a lot of fun. And they were able to produce more than 50 solutions in just about 3 days. So that's how easy it is to implement solutions in AL with our toolkit. And there was tons of really, really creative ideas. We had a small competition, and we awarded the best idea, but it was really hard because there were so many good ideas. So let me roll this quick video so we can get an idea what's went on there.
Welcome to Business Central AI Hackathon for Partners. As the clock strikes 9 a.m., our virtual doors swing open. 300 partners around the world have joined forces in an AI hackathon. Over the course of 3 intense days, ideas turn into reality, resulting in 50 innovative solutions. Meet our secret weapon, Business Central Partners. Developer tools for AI and Copilot in Business Central have got your back. But remember, AI isn't just about algorithms, it's about community, creativity, and exploration. Every line of code, late-night brainstorm, it's all a collective journey. Everyone is a winner here because in this hackathon, we are not just coding, we're shaping the future.
All right, then I would like to use the opportunity to actually announce the winners. We never did it publicly. So the company TechOn, they won this small competition. But again, that was really hard to find a winner because there were so many good solutions out there. And the solution was about building a logistic manager and plane shipment by organizing delivery and sales order for customers. So look out for this kind of event. I think we'll have another one. So if you're interested in participating, look out for it. And please join. That was a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah. I just think some of our audience are a little bit now, maybe cynical, I would say, because they say, Copilot, AI, come on. What about all these fundamental needs that of developer has? Productivity features, language features. Anyway, AL is a kind of new language, and we need to continue to invest on it. And then I have something actually new for you as well. So we have been, even though we have been investing a lot in AI, but we have continuously, it's our mission, we always have time box. We make sure that we are investing on the language, on productivity feature. We make sure that we are investing on the tools, debugging experience, ALGO. We add feature, makes them better, and you can see some of the examples on the screen. Also, we think about how we are modernizing the application stack, how we make refactoring easier for you and non-breaking. And we have great session that covering all that, and it's just not talking, you know. I actually went ahead and count everything since last Tech Days, all these great features that are bubbling in the background and that we have added. And we have, I think, 2 sessions that covering all the productivity feature, language features, and all the enhancement for you developers. And I am really encouraging you to go and attend those sessions and see how you can use that in your solutions. So there is also, maybe I have one more thing, Vincent. So it's about modernization of application, because we are talking about that all the time. We are saying we are investing, but it has been a bit quiet. So would you go ahead and update that for me? Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to also recap a little bit what we've been doing in that area. So it was kind of a journey that started a while ago when we converted from CL to L. I'm sure we remember that. And that was kind of, you know, as I see the beginning of that journey. And since then, we have been doing a lot of work to modernize our application that we all love, don't we?
So tough.
All right. So thanks for the enthusiasm. So I just want to recap a little bit what we did in that area. So we have the platform, and we had the base app and the local solutions on top of that. So one of the first things we did is we factored out what we call the system layer, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And the idea with the system layer is to have everything that you need to build your solution, all the APIs you need, but in the system layer, the APIs have nothing to do with the API. So you'll find things like HTTP client or Key Vault API or File IO API, these kind of things, and they're all things you need, but they're not specific to ERP. They could be in any library. Then on top of that, we have the business foundation that we introduced more recently, and the idea with business foundation is to have all the code and all the things that you need for ERP, but which are not pertaining to a specific area of ERP. So they are not pertaining to for finance, for example, or inventory, or that kind of thing. So we'll find, in that layer, you'll find things like number series, which we shipped very recently. And the idea is that we'll keep adding and factoring out these fundamental things into the business foundation layer. And so our approach is twofold. We are going bottom up, as I'm showing now. So starting from the bottom of the code base and factoring out the things in these layers. But we're also going top down. And lately we actually factored out service management and manufacturing, which are on top of what we think of now as being the core application. So you see what's happening here. We are kind of shrinking the base app itself and factoring out these modules to create a nice separation of concern between these different areas of code. Right? And we'll keep with that effort. It's going slowly, but that's by nature. These changes tend to be quite breaking, and that's why we're treading carefully. We don't want to break you too much. We have 2 releases every year where we actually can have breaking change. So that means we have to do these things slowly and carefully, so we avoid breaking you as developers and breaking the solution. But we'll keep working on this, and I'm sure I'll talk about it next year and the year to come at Tech Days, and I'll keep you updated on the progress we are making on that area.
Awesome. So a lot of great productivity features, a brand new Copilot toolkit, and continual modernization of the application. But actually, I have one more thing to wrap it up. So, in the beginning of each release, we always update our documentation, of course. But this time, I would say the developer documentation has been reimagined. It has been a complete overhaul, and I really want you to go and check the link BC Developers. We have tons of samples, tons of wisdom, how you can write an efficient and robust code, what are all the tips and tricks, all the great content that we have and samples all in one place in a very organized and structured way. It's really, we are using it when we are onboarding a new developer to Business Central. And I know as BC grows and grows and we are onboarding the new generation of developers, this is like an amazing resource to onboard the junior developers, and you always can also, as a very senior developers, provide feedback for us, tips and tricks, because we really want to keep this like a world-class 2024 resource of documentation for you. So please keep that in mind. And
there's one URL you want to remember, that's the one, aka.ms/BC developer.
Yeah,
if
BC
there's
developer,
one URL we remember, that's the one.
what all we are also. I hope we can remember that. Great.
All right. Thank you very much, Aida.
Thank you.
Please give Aida a round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, so I think it was 2 tech days ago, not the last one, but the one before. I had this section called From the Lab. I know you usually enjoy that section. It's usually pretty popular. And back then, I showed this prototype we had where you could record and replay scenarios in the browser, right? And as always, when I introduce that section of the keynote, I always say I always come with a lot of disclaimers and say it's prototype. Maybe it's not going to make it to the product. Maybe we might ship it or we might not. So I showed this thing 2 years ago, and never I've had so much feedback around something I showed at the From the Lab section. People were literally, when I attend conference like this one, people were literally stopping me in the hallway, asking me, when are you going to ship the page scripting, which is what we end up calling that feature. So I'm happy to announce that we finally shipped it in the 2024 release wave 1 as a preview. So you have been asking for it, and now it's there. I'm going to do a quick demo of it, show you some of the things it can do, and some of the things I didn't show 2 years ago. So let's switch to my demo computer here. And so how does it work? It's very simple. You get to the page scripting by clicking on the cogwheel menu, and you have this new menu item here called page scripting. And as soon as I click new here, I'm automatically in recording mode. You can see the red dot is pulsing, which means I'm recording now. And then I'm going to do a very simple recording. So let's assume I want to test if the first customer in the customer list has the contact name Robert Towns. That's my scenario I want to test. So I just go and run that scenario. I open the first customer here. And you can see on the left side here that the steps I'm performing are getting recorded here. And I have my contact name here. And if I right-click on the field, you see the page scripting menu appears here. And I can go and say validate that the current value is Robert Town, right? And that's it. So I've recorded basically a small test, a small scenario here. So let me stop the recording. Get back to you always need to go back to where you started, otherwise the recording won't work. And let's go ahead and run it. So you can see here I get a confirmation dialog. That's because by default replaying is it's restricted through permission on production environment for good reason. You can always record, but for replaying you need to have the right permission, and that's simply to avoid. You can imagine there could be some recording that could do some damage with the data in a production environment. So you need to have the permission to do that. So I'll just go ahead and confirm here, and my scenario runs here, and everything is green. That means it passes. But let's say, for example, that somebody goes and modifies Robert Town to Bob Towns, for example, in my in that particular customer here. So if I rerun the scenario here, you'll see what happened. I get a failure because I was expecting Robert Towns. So that's very quickly how you can go and do recordings and replaying and do tests. So I just want to be precise about what we want, what we are targeting with this feature. Our primary goal is to help end users and customers do the acceptance tests. That's the scenarios we're supporting. Now, feel free to use it in any creative way you'll find useful. But we are primarily targeting end customers and helping them doing the acceptance test in an automated way. So I'll show you a couple of other things that are interesting in the page scripting. You can let's say I record a scenario where I'm going to create a new customer. So let's start from we can start from the customer list. That's fine. So let me open again the page scripting here, and I can go and create a new one. So I'll just go ahead and create a new customer here. So it's recording. I go new. Okay. And I just enter some name. And that's it. I've created a customer here, right? And you can see the new customer is created here. So if I replay, let me stop the recording now. So let me just replay it. And what's going to happen here simply is the same thing. I'm going to create a new customer. As you can see, it has the same name that I typed in. So there might be some scenario when you do this recording where you want to have some new names, new strings. You want some. If I run it every time I will run it, I will have a new customer with the same name, right? So if you notice here, in that step, that's where I enter the name, right? So if I open the property for that particular steps, you can see the value I've typed here. And you'll notice that right under this field, there is a link to the PowerFX reference. And that's because in that area, you can enter any PowerFX expression. So PowerFX is a well-documented language coming from the Power Platform. And you can do really, really advanced things. You can use random numbers, you can use dates, things like that. So just to demo that, I have prepared here a small PowerFX expression, and what it does, it's actually generate an 8-character strings. So that's just a PowerFX expression that does that. So just to demonstrate that you can have pretty complex expressions here. And let me rerun the scenario now. And you see what's happening is I create a new customer here with a random name of 8 characters. And if I run it once more, I'll get, as you expect, yet another customer, but with the different names. Okay, so that's just to show you an example of how you can use complex expressions. There are tons of other features. I won't go through all of them. Look at the documentation. You can do conditional branching. You can add timeout or waiting steps if you need to communicate with outside BC. I won't go through these, but look it up in the documentation. There are tons of other things you can do with that. What I want to talk about a little more, because it's more maybe interesting for you as developers, is what you can do with the recording. Once you recorded it, we can actually so you can share it here. I can have a link here. I can get in my clipboard, and if you send that link through mail or through Teams, and somebody opens it, they will get the full recording available, which they can run on their environment. Another thing I can do is I can save the recording here, and I get a warning because it might contain some private data. But then, I can save it as a file, and the format we chose for that is a YAML. So let me show you a little bit what you can do with this file. Let me see. I should have a another one here. So this is how a recording would look like. Actually, I'll switch to the slides. I'll show you on the slides. I think it's easier to show it that way. That's how the recording look like in YAML. So you see there are some. It's pretty simple. There's a description of the recording, a title, and some steps, which corresponds to the steps you see in the UI. But one of the things you can do in the YAML that you cannot do in the UI is you can add parameters to your recording. It looks like this. You can add a section where you give the parameter a name. In that example, let's say I want to parameterize the name of the customer in my customer creation scenario. So I just introduce that parameter section of type string and give it a value. And then later in my recording, in the steps where you input the value, you can just refer to it by writing parameters.customerName. So that's one of the cool things you can do with YAML. Another thing which you might be interested in playing with is test suites. So you can, if you have, very, very quickly when you start doing recording, you'll figure out that you re-record the same steps for different scenarios. For example, you need to create a customer at the beginning of a scenario. So the interesting things with suites is that you can create actually building blocks. You can say have a block that create a customer, which you save in its own YAML file. And then you can have another block which validates the customer is in the list, and so on. And you combine these in a test suite like this. You have different steps of type include. And what you do in these steps is that you refer to the YAML file where you have your building blocks. So that's some of the things I wanted to show that I didn't show last time on the page scripting. So go and try it out. aka.ms/bc page scripting. You'll find all the documentation about it, and I'm sure you can find creative ways to use it. So I talked about, I said, we had from the lab section 2 years ago and the last year, and so it's tradition. So we're going to have it this year as well, and this time, I always come with these disclaimers about, the things I'm going to show. They might or might not make it in the product. But this time, so I'm going to show you 3 things. And the 2 first things I'm going to show, I'm pretty sure they are going to make it in the product. And the reason is that they are actually already in the preview build, at least on the compiler side. I'm not sure about the runtime, but you can already download the preview build and start playing with these things in Visual Studio Code. Let's switch back to my demo computer here. All right, so I need my glasses. Otherwise, that's going to be a lot more interesting. Okay, so let's start with this. This. This keyword, and by this I mean the this keyword. So we introduced that a while ago, and there's been a lot of puns on X with the this and that. So I'm not going to make more jokes about it. I think all the jokes have been made. But basically, what is the this keyword? So the this keyword it represents the instance of the object you are currently in a specific procedure, or in the context of the object. So that's very practical because you can send send a handle to yourself to say another code unit or another object. And just to demonstrate how it can be used, I'm going to code a small example here, just to give you an idea what this can be used for. So we have our own event mechanism in BC, but let's say you want to create your own. So there's this classic pattern of notify a subscriber, right, where you have subscribers that can register themselves to a central place, and you have a notifier that can send messages to all the subscribers. So the very classic pattern of subscriber notifier. So let's see how we can implement that with using the this keyword and how the this keyword can come into play here. So I'll start with an interface, the subscriber interface. It looks very simple. It just have one method called notify. And then comes the notifier itself. So that's a single instance code unit. And what it does, so first it has you can say here, it has a variable which is a list of subscriber interface. So that was the first thing I want to show you. We now have the ability to have interfaces in lists. That's also new. And then the register method, that's where the subscriber are going to call. They're going to call and register themselves calling that methods. And what it does is just adding, the parameter that it receives of the subscriber to the list. And finally, the notify method just iterates through all the subscribers in the list and call notify on them. So that's how the notifier looks like. Then there is the actual implementation of a subscriber. So that could look something like that. So as you can see here, it implements the Aida subscriber interface. And what it does is that in the initialization phase, it's going to call the notifier and register itself with this. So that's where this becomes interesting. It sends a reference to itself, a handle to itself, to the notifier. So that's just one example of the many things you can do with this keyword. There's plenty of other application. I'm sure you'll find it useful. So now let me start. That was the first thing I wanted to demo. I think it's been a preview for a little while now, and I think some of you are already playing with it. Now the next thing I wanted to show. We've recently introduced, very recently actually, I think a couple of weeks ago, the ability to cast interface and extend multiple interfaces. So what does that mean? That means that you can have interfaces for a certain object. You can inherit from different interfaces, and you can cast from one interface to the other. Let me explain. So it's going to be a little bit confusing, but try to bear with me. So let's have an interface called I do good stuff, right? And it has one procedure called do good stuff, right? Then I have another interface called I do bad stuff. One method called do bad stuff. So far, so good, right? Now I have a third interface called I do both stuff. And the first thing you notice here is that it extends I do good stuff and I do bad stuff, and it also has its own methods called do both stuff. Right? So what does that mean? That means that when I implement this interface, I do both stuff, I will have to implement all three methods. I will have to implement do good stuff, do bad stuff, and do both stuff. Are you still with me? Okay, right. So let's see how that looks like. I have a code unit here, which implements I do both stuff, and as I mentioned before, it has all three methods here. Right? So far, so good. So where does the casting comes into play here? So you'll see here in that method, I have three variables: one of type I do both stuff, one of type I do good stuff, and one of type I do bad stuff. And what I can do here on the do both, I can say do both equal this, and we have the this keyboard again, because obviously this code unit is of type I do both stuff, so that's perfectly legal. But what I can also do, I can do good, which is of type I do good stuff, equals to this. That's also a valid statement, because the interface I've implemented here, this object is also of type I do good stuff. And finally, I can do bad equals this as well. So all three statements are valid because this particular code unit has all the three types. It's compatible with all three types. So there is a casting going on here. Are you still with me? Yeah. All right. Good. So here's another thing which is cool here. Let's do a little bit more coding on this. So I have another code unit here, and I have a method called a procedure here called do stuff, and it takes a I do both stuff interface as a parameter, and in turns it calls another method here called do stuff, right? And this method takes a I do good stuff interface. And again, here, there's a casting going on because this parameter here is of type I do both stuff, which is also of type I do good stuff. So it's perfectly legal for me to call this method with that parameter. And then, while I'm in that procedure, all I know is that I have a variable, a parameter of type I do good stuff. But I don't know if it actually does also bad stuff. So I can ask. I can go do good is I do bad stuff. So I can ask whether this type I receive, this parameter I receive, is also of type I do bad stuff. And that is, if that's the case, I can go and cast this variable to a I do bad stuff type, and I can finally call do bad stuff on it. Make sense? Okay. I know it's a little bit confusing with do good, do bad, and a lot of stuff, but I hope that illustrates how you can do a casting. So wait, there's more. I have a method here called do something else, and it actually takes a variant, right? Which is yet another type. So that's also a legal thing. I can go and a valid thing. I can go and call with a do good parameter, which is of type I do good stuff here, and I can go and send it to a method that takes a variant type. And then again, in my method, I can ask whether this is a type of do good, and I can cast it to I do good stuff type and call the do good stuff method on it. So that's a little bit about interface casting and the is and as keywords. And you'll see it's fine. It has a lot of application, and it's bringing these kind of features, language features are bringing AL even closer to a true object-oriented languages. So I'm sure you'll find a lot of cool application for this. So this was the two first things I wanted to show that again are already in the preview build. So feel free to download the preview builds and start playing with this feature. And the runtime is going to be there very, very soon. Now the last thing I'm going to show in the from the lab thing has to do with a little bit of Copilot and LLM. I couldn't resist do something with that. So our code base, the base app, it's good practice to write documentation and write code comments in your code. And how many of you write code comments all the time? 2 people, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, and we're the same at Microsoft. If you look at our base app, we don't have a lot of good code comments in the code. And I thought, well, that could be interesting to maybe see if we can Copilot to help us with that and help documenting our code base. And I thought, well, we're probably not the only one who have a code base which is not well documented. There must be other people who have that same problem. So I did a little bit of research, and I stumbled across this article where some researchers made some experiment with LLMs. And what they did is that they used LLM to generate comments for some code base, and they actually compared it with a dedicated model, AI model, which were trained to generate comments. And they found out that LLMs with no special training were just as good as this specialized model to generate comments, provided that you gave them examples of code. So that makes me thinking. I say, okay, that would be cool if we could have a code action in Visual Studio Code where we could add comments to our code base, and just have the LM just send generate a comment for us, send the method. So that's what I did. That's what I'm going to demo now. And I'll start by showing you the prompt. You won't see it in the demo, so because it's happening, behind the scenes. But this is basically the prompt that gets sent to the LLM. So you can see here, it's setting the stage and giving a lot of context, so the LLM gets a chance to do a good job. So it says something like Business Central is an enterprise resource planning product developed by Microsoft. You are a programmer expert in AL, and you're an expert in things like finance, manufacturing, and so forth. And your task is to generate documentation. And by the way, you'll notice here in the prompt, we ask the LLM to generate an answer in JSON, as opposed to I could have asked to an answer directly in the XML comment format. But what I found out is that it's not very stable. When you do that, you get sometimes it's formatted properly, sometimes it's not. So this is a very useful trick that a lot of people are using when you do things with LLM. You ask them to return in a format like JSON, because LLMs, it turns out, are pretty good at manipulating JSON, and it's probably because they have seen a lot of it on the internet. LLMs are traditionally good at generating things that they've seen a lot of, and they have seen a lot of JSON. So that's one advantage of this technique. The other advantage is that you can actually validate what you get in return. So you have a structured answer, and you can check whether it contains the thing, to a certain extent. You can validate what you get, and if you don't get the right answer, you can actually ask the LLM again and do a multi-turn kind of implementation. And then, what happens in that prompt, so, that prompt also contains, I don't show it here, but it also contains a bunch of examples of comments and code where the comments have been actually written by humans. So good quality comments to give the LLMs examples of how it should look like. So let's see it in action. Let me go back to this procedure here. As you can see, it doesn't compile. Doesn't matter. It's something I've cut and pasted from our code base. And so we have a diagnostic tool here that says, you should be having XML comments describing the purpose and use of intent of the methods. So that's why we get the yellow squigglies. And then the code action here, one of them is generate XML comment with Copilot. So let me just click on that. And here we go. So that comes directly from Copilot. And when you look at it, it's actually pretty good. I've done a little bit of experiment with that and tried with different methods. And it's actually a pretty good understanding what's going on. So it's creating a data sheet for analysis view, entry-based analysis, so on. And the procedure populates temporary Excel buffer. So it's kind of a good understanding of the code. And we're still going to experiment with it. And my plan is to get people or developers at Microsoft, our own team, to use that feature and give us some feedback if they actually generate comments that have good quality. And who knows, we might ship that. So that's just an example. I think that I hope that can inspire you. An example of how you can use LLMs for all sorts of things. All right, that's what I had from the lab section. So this thing, by the way, is not shipped, right? Just to be clear. So before I let you go. I usually we talk a little bit about the future in that last section of the keynote. And you'll see here, I usually have that slides and tradition. So these are the areas we are going to invest into the future. As you can see, there's a lot of focus on AI, obviously, but there are also all sorts of other things we are working on. We're keeping our service world-class. We're doing a lot of things like geographic extension, improving the integration with the Power Platform. We do a lot on the fundamentals to increase performance and scalability and reliability. So all these things are also going on. We're not only working on AI, and we're also doing a lot of things in the development area and development tools area. If you haven't checked our YouTube channel, go there. There's tons of great resources there. aka.ms/BC YouTube. We publish all the videos from the BC launch events where we show the new features in the product. There's lots of tips and tricks, some technical deep dives. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And I also use the opportunity to do a bit of advertisement for this new series we started, which we call Under the Hood. So we have these videos where we demo the latest features in the product, and then we have conference like this one where we talk a lot about development. But then I realized, when I attend conference like this one, people would ask me, people were curious about how BC works, how we build it. So I got questions about the internal architecture of it, how the compiler works. People were just curious about it. So I thought maybe that would be interesting to do something kind of in between, where we talk about the inner workings of BC and what's going on under the hood. So the format is a little bit different. It's kind of a podcast format where I invite different speakers and different guests, and we talk about all sorts of things. We don't demo features, but we talk about how we build BC. We have one on AI. We talk about how we build AI features. And we have one on the inner working of the compiler, where Espen talks about how he built the compiler, and together with his team. And the last one we just published recently is about how many users can BC handle in the cloud. And we have a few ones we are producing very soon. So check it out if you haven't seen it. It's fun. It's fun to do, and I think it's probably fun to watch. And with that, I'd like to thank you again for being such a great community. Thank you for helping us making this product a great success. We're really, really grateful for what you're doing with Business Central. And before I let you go, I want to roll this video, which something we've done, which is kind of a vision of how the future could look like for Business Central. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.